Awesome. So when I was a child, I wanted to go to space. See, my ceiling had thousands of glow in the dark stickers, and all of them represented the stars and constellations. The entire northern hemisphere was above my pillow, and at the south of my bed was the southern hemisphere at the foot of my feet. But on that long march to becoming 30, star stuff gave its way to the stuff of life. Some of it awful, some of it awe inspiring, but all did its part to blot out the sky. Though a few weeks before my 30th birthday, there it was. Ba-da-ding! From Jiten Dave, Wednesday, May 21st, 3:07 p.m. Hey cousin, greetings from sunny Los Angeles. Good news, our son Rohan has reached the national finals of his middle school patch design contest, sponsored by NASA. The winner's patch will be sewn into a suit of an astronaut traveling into space. And voting ends on Saturday morning, so please try to vote if you can. Love, Jiten. A link to a SurveyMonkey site followed. I stared at the screen blankly, then twitched. Maybe I couldn't get to the stars, and neither would my nephew, but this patch, this piece of cloth stitched with my dream, maybe it could get to space. I was at work, so I dramatically explained this to coworkers why this mattered. This was a team that grew mustaches in November, so this was an easy sell. The idea caught fire and 40 votes were docked within the hour. That evening, I looked at the online score for the first time. Votes were 2, 11, 20, and 52. We were well in the lead, with some girl or boy named Z Wang in second. I felt confident about Rohan's patch and even kind of bad for the one with only 2 votes. Dylan's was a patch that evidently, literally only a mother could love. I got into bed. It was the second time that day, but I tried voting on my phone. It worked. I tried again and received a prompt that I'd already voted, so no big deal. My eyes grew heavy, and I looked out the window at the sky. See you soon, I eked out, half dreaming. 2 more days till the stars. The next day, the whole family got involved. Mom and Dad's coworkers, my other cousin's 3rd graders, a few strangers from Metro Park, anyone who would listen to our story were logging in votes. When we got home from work, the scoreboard showed lots of movement. Well, mostly. Dylan only had a 3rd vote, probably just his dad, but the rest of us were off to the races. 3, 25, 67, 102. We were still in front and in fact had increased our lead, but something about the score of 67 felt unsettling, made me feel unsafe. Did Z really triple his or her score in a day? I got out my phone and tried voting. 103. On a hunch, I completely turned off my phone and tried voting again. 104. I'll spare you the exact details of what followed, but when I called my cousin, words like cached memory, IP addresses, hard resets, and a bunch of other gibberish led us to a simple conclusion. This vote could be rigged. We both voted together for 2 hours until we reached 401. We didn't want a round number and called it a night. That Friday morning was the final day of voting, and I half expected some kind of mercy rule applied. These were kids, after all. But when I went to see if they'd already declared us the winner early, I saw something else entirely. 3, 26, 401, and 503. Somehow Z had overtaken us while we were sleeping, though not somehow. We all knew exactly how. Now, every time I refreshed the page, Z's votes kept jumping higher. 504, 506, 511. My face went hot. I frantically started voting, but I couldn't keep pace. For each vote I made, there were 2 or 3 more votes going to Z. I gave up when I reached 500. Z was at 1,000, and there it hovered at twice our score, taunting me. I was shattered, hopeless, and helpless. But then the phone rang. Jithan, Rohan's dad, had come up with a plan. We played dead for the whole day and gathered online as a family at 10 p.m., 8 of us across 4 cities. We were dialed into Ramesh Uncle's work conference line to communicate, but no one was speaking. Nothing needed to be said. 10 p.m., the clicking rumbled across the conference line. With Firefox, Chrome, and Internet Explorer open on each of our computers, and iPhones, Samsung phones, and iPads flanking, we were an interconnected Indian-American mission control with enough technology to send an actual rocket into space. 45 minutes is all it took to approach 1,000, but now Z and many other Wangs were back on the site. Both patch tallies were rising at a feverish pace. This continued for hours. But around 3 a.m., both sides started to fall asleep, though almost. Now it was just me and Z. I was out ahead by about 250 votes, and Z had slowed down to about 1 to 2 votes a minute, an easy clip to keep ahead of. At 4:30 a.m., Z stopped entirely. I didn't. I was ready to go to infinity and beyond. And in the absolute dark of my room, the pale light of 4 screens made me feel like I was floating through complete deep space. Eventually, the sunrise broke me out of my spell, and by the 8 a.m. closing time, the scores were locked in. Dylan had 4. I'd felt a kinship with him during those lonely hours and ended up giving Dylan my final vote. Then 32, 3,047, and 12,555. Rohan, Z Wang, and their parents were called to the principal's office later that day, and an impassioned, quasi-legal argument ensued about whether this was cheating or not. But I haven't given that question much shrift. What I do know is we were trying to get to space, trying to claim something that has always been out of reach. And maybe dreams don't come true exactly as planned, but aim high. Keep your loved ones close and get there. Get there however you can. Rohan's patch returned to Earth this year. Its voyage reminds me that we came from the stars, and maybe, more importantly, that we are not alone. Thank you.